What's up guys, Ramfizzle here, and today we'll be taking a break from the normal comedy, fun-having time we usually have here on this channel. And we're gonna touch on something a little more serious. I found this game called Depression Quest, and it really caught my interest because that's sort of a topic that hits close to home for me. My wife has suffered with depression, I've suffered with it, my family members, friends have suffered with it. It's, for those that don't have depression, don't really understand what it's like. So this game is supposed to sort of give you a glimpse into what that's like. But this is Depression Quest, an interactive non-fiction about living with depression by Zoe Quinn, Patrick Lindsay, and Isaac Shankler. Okay, its emotional character is probably most indescribable, except as a sort of double bind, in which any/all of the alternatives we associate with human agency, sitting or standing, doing or resting, speaking or keeping silent, living or dying, are not just unpleasant but literally horrible. Which is a pretty good description. That's from David Foster Wallace. Alright, Depression Quest is a game that deals with living with depression in a very literal way. This game is not meant to be a fun or lighthearted experience. If you are currently suffering from the illness and are easily triggered, please be aware that this game uses stark depictions of people in very dark places. If you are suicidal, please stop playing this game and visit the suicide prevention hotline to just talk to someone. The goal of this game is twofold. Firstly, we want to illustrate as clearly as possible what depression is like so that it may be better understood by people without depression. Hopefully this can be something to spread awareness and fight against the social stigma and misunderstandings that depression sufferers face. Secondly, our hope is that in presenting as real a simulation of depression as possible, other sufferers will come to know that they aren't alone and hopefully derive some measure of comfort from that. It goes without saying that because of the very nature of depression, it is experienced differently by every person who suffers from it. We aren't trying to say that this is the best or most accurate representation, merely that this is an amalgamation of the experiences of the developers and several people close to them. Many of the following encounters deal with issues such as therapy, medication, handling a love life, and reaching out to support networks. In reality, less than half of depression sufferers actually seek treatment for reasons such as lack of money, perceived personal failing, or public stigma. These things were included in order to touch upon as broad a range as possible, since all of these elements can be very important to sufferers of depression, though they will likely not be the experiences of most sufferers. It's important to recognize that not everyone with depression is so lucky. Many people with the illness don't have a lot of the luxuries that we have in this game. We've written it this way so that we can focus specifically on the illness, which becomes more and more difficult to deal with as the person who has it is less and less well off. This game uses audio as part of the play experience. We encourage you to play with your sound on. Thank you for playing. Alright, let's view the controls. Up and down to scroll page. Tab, select next option. Shift tab, select previous option. Enter, confirm action, backspace, rewind passage. Plug in controller and press A to enable. Oh, I don't have a controller, so begin. It is early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other named Alex who you are rather fond of that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months. The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring but pays the rent. You'd like to be doing more with your life, as would your parents, but you're still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. You are also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes make dealing with these things difficult. You feel like this is probably your fault, and on bad days you can feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy. But you're not quite sure how you can break out of it, or how other people deal with these feelings, and seem so very functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on thinking about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep. It's an unseasonably warm Wednesday evening. You've spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so you've found your job motivation flagging more so than usual. You've been in a fog practically all day today, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing half the time. And yet time seems to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late, another couple hours at least. Briefly consider about using this serendipitous solitude to catch up on that project that you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain, unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable. By the time you arrive home, change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down on you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring at you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. More than anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted, and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed. Do you, Order some food, grab a drink, and hunker down for a night of work. That's crossed out, and I cannot select it because of the depression. 2. Reluctantly sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do something. 3. Turn on the TV telling yourself you need a quick half hour to unwind from work. 4. Crawl into bed. You're so stressed and overwhelmed you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways. You are depressed. Interaction is exhausting, and you are becoming more and more withdrawn. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. I'm guessing these are the statuses that we have to look at and interact with throughout the game. I'm going to go ahead and play this as I would, personally, what I would try to do to handle with this. Turn on the TV telling yourself you just need a quick half hour to unwind from work. Netflix. Just a half hour of TV, you tell yourself, absolutely grasping for the remote. You don't so much sit down on the couch as sink into it. You turn on the TV and start going through your usual channel routine. After a few cycles of this, you realize that you're not doing much more than thumb calisthenics and absently killing time. You check the clock and see that over 20 minutes have already passed since you sat down. As your self-imposed time limit creeps ever nearer, you become more and more anxious. You stand up and walk to the fridge, telling yourself, I'll just make a quick sandwich and get to work after that. Can't be productive on an empty stomach, right? As you eat, you start pacing around your apartment, heading past your bedroom in the process. You stop in the doorway as if physically unable to cross the threshold. Familiar waves of exhaustion start racking you, and you feel simultaneously tired and panicked. Close your door and head back to the couch. It's still early yet, you tell yourself. As long as I get to work in an hour, I'll have plenty of time to be productive. As you flip channels and let the CSI and Jeopardy reruns wash over you, you sink deeper into the couch, feeling once encroached upon and shielded by being quite literally swallowed up by it. As the second hour draws near, sure enough, you find yourself getting anxious and jittery. You repeat the fridge, pace, couch process a couple more times before you look at the clock and realize that several hours have passed, and, not surprisingly, you've managed to get no work done. You crawl into bed, acutely aware of the fact that you have work in the morning and that any opportunity you had to catch up on your own creative endeavors today was squandered. You're feeling so disgusted with yourself that when Alex calls to talk to you on her way home from class, you simply say you had a really rough day at work and you're trying to rest up before your shift tomorrow. She says she understands and wishes you a good night, though you can't help but notice that she sounds slightly disappointed. Ironically, the stress of potentially upsetting your partner compounds with the stress of not having gotten anything done this evening and the stress of having to go into work tomorrow. The buzzing of anxiety in your brain melts together with your body's utter physical exhaustion, and you sink into a semi-hypnagogic anxious funk. Too tired to try and work, but too anxious to fall asleep for several hours. Alright, new day apparently. It's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that there's going to be a really awesome birthday party tonight with her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough, but aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You are feeling kind of run down, but you have been fatigued most of the time lately. You mention that you're feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain those feelings to someone else, and say that you aren't sure that you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over your phone, but you can swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week. She sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. What do you do? Shake off your funk and go have a good time with your girlfriend. Obviously can't do that because of how depressed you are. Agree to go. 3. Say that you're really just not feeling well and can't make it. Well, agree to go. You agree to go even though you're really not feeling social. You know it's important to Alex and you'd really like to see her. Seeing her does make you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all the usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around, and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building and try to steel your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. Oh, I'm so happy you came! I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know that they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. Enthusiastically socialize, absolutely out of the question. Awkwardly stand in the same spot, unsure of what else to do. Put your bag in Alex's room and avoid the crowd in there for a while. Cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. Proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you feel less uncomfortable. Proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you less uncomfortable. After Alex walks away, you're not quite sure what to do with yourself. Scanning the party for familiar faces yields nothing, and you're not sure where your girlfriend or the birthday girl got off to. You look at the beer in your hand. You know you care a lot less about everything in general when tipsy, but you know you should avoid getting drunk and possibly emotional. You quickly down the beer, hoping that it will loosen you up a little. You down a few more as quickly as your stomach will let you handle the carbonation comfortably, and wait for it to take effect. By the time it does, Alex has already returned and is introducing you to people. However, all that drinking accomplished was making you even more tired and unfocused, and you stick to your girlfriend for the rest of the night, staying fairly quiet in group conversations. Later that night, as the two of you are both tipsy and dozing off, Alex cuddles up to you and lightly slurs, "I'm really glad you turned up tonight. To be honest, I really didn't think you'd show. It's really cool you did, really." You know she meant it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement. Well, everybody, I did not realize how long this game was, and I will come back and finish it in later videos, and I hope this has been an eye-opener for some of you to see what depression is really like, because a lot of these little interactions that I was reading here, it's stuff I've gone through or stuff that I've witnessed my wife go through, and it really is as hard as they make it sound in the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my reading to you instead of actual gameplay for once. And if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.